Hello, 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 hello. Well, we have Rahn versus King of Nothing. And I went first, and it's on Mirage, the scenario that's scored mainly by a whole lot of solos. I got up the board pretty well, kept my Chimera safe. Deployment was a little bit weird, but everything's mostly where I want it to be. Discordia, Alara, Helios, and the Chimera can all independently activate and go wherever they need to go with nothing in their way. So I'm pretty happy with that deployment. It wasn't very fast, but it got the job done. Dang it. I didn't realize he was flipping me off. There will be some proxying. All of these horrible Signar models are going to turn into the cask imps that are going to be spawned by the Madcap's boss. And there's Helios's head on the objective. There's 2 units of murder crows that are off to the side. They're going to be ambushing. And yeah, his turn. He gets up the board and he puts out cloud walls. Well, wait a minute. Yep. And then for my turn, I do some stuff. This skips several turns. He put out the cloud walls, as you can see. The Madcap's boss was over here. Discordia went over there and sprayed it, and then Speed of Death back and took care of that. And then an AoE ended up drifting backwards and killing his own dudes. And then I came over here, and he has, for Arcana, he has the one that creates a 4-inch AoE of terrain if you move into his control range, and then he also has the one Ruin that cancels the use of a spell targeting a model in his control range. So I want to go for the assassination, but I can't here, because if the key TK or Force Hammer, it's going to take all of my spells from Rahn to get King of Nothing in a place away from the Crabbits, because that's not a Dreadrot, that's actually a Crabbit. And there's another Dreadrot over here, which is also a Crabbit. Like, I could Force Hammer that Crabbit over the top of King of Nothing, but then he could ruin it, and then I'd have to do it again. And then it's also weird for getting the drag out of there and getting Helios to pull him all the way out. It was something in the end I decided not to do because I thought I could pull off the attrition safely. Nothing is really in a spot to penalize me since it's pretty safely behind the clouds. So I move Chimera into the forest. I do a Force Hammer at the Madcap, trying to get rid of it because I really want to get rid of those things. And he uses Ruin surprisingly against that, so it doesn't get slammed into his Skin and Moans, which the Skin and Moans won't get knocked down because of Stumbling Drunk, which was originally part of my plan, but it kept his Madcap alive. That also cleared all of my spells off my upkeep spells. So Speed of Death fell off of Discordia, and Polarity Shield fell off of Helios. So then I decided to play it safe. I TK Chimera back out of the forest to a spot where nothing can see him and he's safe. And then I put Polarity Shield back up onto Helios using Rahn. Then I advance up Helios, so if those Skin and Moans get the bright idea to try and trample over and kill Chimera, Helios can just have a field day with them. As soon as I kill one of the Skin and Moans, the other one isn't going to be able to get rid of Helios on his own, because there is no Death Kneel. There is no Death Kneel here to make the Skin and Moans load up on corpses and have the damage they need to kill Helios. In that way, this Grimkin list is really lacking the necessary mechanics that it needs to crack any form of armor, and I'm going to leverage that. So yeah, I'll just sit kind of there behind that forest safely. His turn, he came up and threw some AoEs, lit some of my dudes on fire and killed them. Over here, he started drifting AoEs at me, and I just chose which direction they would go when they missed. So nothing really happened there. The boss ran over here, or he walked over here, spawned a dude within 4 so they can score that flag. If they can get rid of Chimera. Couldn't, though. And he's also scoring that zone. Making score 1-1 for each of us because we're each scoring our zones. Oh, no, sorry. Chimera, this is incorrect. Chimera apparated and was farther than 4 inches away from that before the apparition on my turn. So the Chimera, he's 2-1. He scored that flag. His Hollowman took a lot of shots and did a lot of missing. All of my models are 13.5 inches off the side of the board or more. So he decided to keep the murder crows in because I still have a feat and I can just mop them all up. So that happened. He's not sure what to do with skin and moans yet, so he just keeps them back a little bit. And Gorehounds did some shooting, and I just controlled AoEs. So now it's assassination time. I can wipe out all of his Hollowmen, which be cool. I can probably kill a skin and moans. I can go way up on attrition and just kind of stay towards the middle of the board and contest him, because if I don't want to do the assassination run, Helios can take that prime piece of territory right there in between those 2 flags in the forest and also contest that zone and kill a skin and moan, and there's not really much they can do about it after I do that. That will have effectively gutted his army and taken away his scoring possibility, and Helios will be so far up there that I can just keep scoring my stuff till I eventually win. And I mean, once Rahn gets like 2 or 3 away from a scoring victory, he TKs the world, and that's it. TKs, Force Hammers, Battle Mages, pushing, pulling, Discordia, smiting. The tools are all ridiculous in there. But instead, I decided to go for assassination run. These 2 long gunners are actually madcaps. They do not have a melee range, so Chimera walks over to where that proxy base is right there, and is out of 1 inch of the Hollowman, and TKs the madcap around, and then does a force hammer to slam the madcap boss into King of Nothing. However, there's vent fumes, so neither of them are knocked down, much to my dismay, because I really wanted to knock them down. What I should have done is TK'd. I have a Puppet Master on Rahn. I should have TK'd whatever the heck that little solo thing is right there. I can't remember what it is. And TK'd it next to King of Nothing, and then slammed the solo into King of Nothing. And I think, yeah, because the TK was 2 inches and he was farther than 1 inch away because I needed to roll a 2 on the force hammer. So he was farther than 3 inches away from the stumbling drunk madcap. And that would have allowed me to knock down the King of Nothing. And then I could use my other TK to move the madcap out of the way. And then Helios can trample up there and drag the thingamajigger, King of Nothing, to his melee and kill him. Instead, what happens is, because I force hammered the madcap over the top of King of Nothing and neither of them are knocked down, King of Nothing took 2 points of damage and the madcap died. And then I TK'd King of Nothing forward more and turned him around, so he goes from defense 14 to defense 12. These battle mages in the left, these purple here, walk up to the left, they shoot down 1 Hollowman, and then they start dragging King of Nothing over to him, and King of Nothing's on no transfers because he put out his full 4 clouds, and he just died to the damage there. Unfortunately, I felt like a bully in this game. However I wanted to play it, he was correct in identifying that his best case was scenario victory, but he just doesn't have any way of dealing with Helios, so player shielded Helios, as long as I keep putting a backup on him when he uses that Arcana. Yeah, like, as long as I don't get ambushed by murder crows and having them run rampant through my ranks, I really have a pretty good path to victory for attrition and for assassination here. And we talked about the list quite a bit after this game, and it was just an experiment. He wanted to see infantry work. He is trying to figure out how to play Hollowman, and we agreed this is not the list kind of for Hollowman. They need hit fixers and ideally damage fixers as well, but mainly hit fixers for whether they're doing melee or they're doing range attacks. So Glimmer Imps, Heretic, and Feeble is also a good one. There's lots of ways in the faction, but King of Nothing doesn't bring those ways. So therefore, it's just not a good match. Also, the Skin and Moans are great with King of Nothing, but they just don't have any support for them. They don't have a good way of getting corpses. It's in Bum of the Night, so they don't start with corpses. Yeah. Murder Crows would have been great, except for I never went into ambush range. I never went 13.5 from the board edge. Yeah. As always, the Madcaps are dicks. I hate Madcaps so much. They're so dang good. I mean, I went to a lot of effort to remove some 4-point models, and they just continued to spawn little cast imps that drove me crazy. But yeah, that was the game. It was nice to get another Rahn game under my belt. I wanted to play into King of Nothing and see problems of how to play when someone has a potential answer to Rahn. However, he did not have all the answers. He had no way of dealing with Helios. And that's, I think, a fault in the King of Nothing list. And more testing is required for me, because it was hard for me to take the Skin and Moan threat seriously. Even with the Cloud Wall, I never really felt threatened by them, and he had to respect the fact that if he comes too far forward, I'll find a way of getting them. At one point, I was thinking about TKing King of Nothing over to the Skin and Moans and then spraying and shooting them and hitting them with spells and stuff, because his debuff would make them armor 14, and which would be hilarious. But then, if I can TK King of Nothing and I can hit the Skin and Moans with spells and sprays, why the heck am I not just killing the King of Nothing? So that's where that settled up. And yeah, thank you for watching.